Sharing with real estate agents how to grill loan officers, this setting expectations, there's maybe...
And we all know rate is important, right? Because that is a part of the calculation, but is that the only thing? So, 2, 1. Hey everybody, Sean here. Welcome to the Rise by Renown podcast. We're gonna have fun today. We're gonna have a really great day. I have here in studio, or in virtual studio, probably better said, Joshua Meeks. Now, Timber Real Estate. I know it's the PNW Team, but it's the
Timber Real Estate is the brokerage. The PNW Team is the team that we operate.
Okay, there. Love it. We'll see, and I'm guessing you're rocking the uniform. I mean, that's it, flannel. Let's go.
This is it, man.
That's what we do. That's awesome.
Boots and flannels. Not everybody's got boots and flannels over there, but I mean, there's definitely a little country twist over there for sure.
That's good. Well, we were talking a little bit before about like where we come from, and so I was noticing in your studio there in your office, we got bullhorns, we got the flannel shirt. So I think we're gonna have a good old time today. This will be really good.
I'm gonna say we got the bullhorns. We got my
there, people
over there.
I love it. So if you want to, I just guitars. That's all I have. Guitars and Sean
amazing.
Alexander. That's my thing. So, well, listen, I was thinking about how we were setting up the pod this morning, and on the Rise podcast, what I love is I get to have these amazing conversations with so many different types of people, AI tech people, super successful coaches in the real estate space, brand people. And one of the things that I love about watching your journey, and so I'm so grateful for social media, is what I've observed. So I'm going to give you kind of like my outside perspective of what I see when I see the PNW Team, and specifically you bring a massive piece of authenticity to your business. And in a world where I call it, like, we've got the tech savvy, we've got the people savvy. I almost created a new category of real estate agent and business entrepreneur for you. Now, so you let me know if you agree, but I almost call you the heart level.
Yeah.
You are the heart level. When I listen to you talk, when I listen to you on your socials, even how you engage your clientele. You were doing something recently talking about, hey, are you guys wanting to move from Washington and where you want to go? You're engaging these people on these real life decision levels. But then you also engage the people that you talk to from a, hey, this is who I am level. Like this is what I get. And so you actually, to be genuine, you really created a new category for me that I really thought I want to start finding some people in this space too, because
Good, man.
At the end of the day, one of the things that I say, constantly is, one of the things that AI will never replace is your humanity.
Yep.
You can try, but I've even had top level AI experts say, building a drone or building a doppelganger of yourself and putting it out there is just not going to work. How did you decide, hey, this is the route I'm going to go? I imagine some of it's just incredibly authentic and like, this is who I am. And so I put it out there, but how is it that you've decided this is what I'm going to go, when all the pressure right now, especially on agents and others, is to almost be not authentic, but be this polished version?
I mean, mostly just survival. I mean, frankly, like when I started real estate, like a lot of people, I went and got a suit, right? And I called a friend and I said, I need photos. I need people to know how formal and professional and sophisticated I am.
Right.
And then after about 3 months, you go, oh, that doesn't feel like totally like me. Like there's definitely a polished version of me. Like there's moments when I'm, all slacks and a coat, and I'm like, this feels great. That doesn't feel inauthentic. But to propose like this version of me that is always just, slacks and polished and poised, and within a few months, I thought, okay, I've got to take the edge off of that a little bit. And then within a year, within 2 years, within 3 years, what I realized is if I'm always showing up as a version of me that feels not completely holistic or authentic to who I am, I'm just going to get exhausted so much quicker. And if I'm getting exhausted so much quicker, then I'm likely to burn out quicker. I'm likely to come off as a version of me that I don't want to be, as a version of me that's more exhausted, more exasperated, more impatient, more anxious. Not that that person doesn't easily rise to the surface because of the amount of stuff that I have going on, but if on
Right.
top of the pressure and the compression of this market, if we feel like we're like, playing, some image of ourselves that we're not, that just makes it so much more unsustainable. So largely, as the market's changed, as the environment's changed, like
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I am still learning, Sean, to be more authentic and the way that I show up. And every year the goal is to do that, one, because I enjoy it more, and two, it's just more sustainable. I
Yeah.
mean, if
Yeah.
I have to show up as somebody I'm not, like, I'll just quit, and I don't want to quit. So,
Yeah.
and I want to attract other people who want to do the same thing, and that's
Yeah.
what I find is also, as I'm showing up as the most authentic version of me, it brings up something within other people, other agents, other clients that go, "Oh. Oh, okay, that feels refreshing,"
I
and
can do that.
that's
Yeah.
been really good for us.
How do you, because I love that. I think, I mean, that's kind of my philosophy for life is life becomes sustainable, not even just career, but life becomes sustainable when we have accepted the invitation to be the truest version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I get with I won't do it this day, but one of the things that I find sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'll talk the prodigal son story even, just like the invitation to be the truest version of yourself and not be, well, I won't get into it, but I'm just, that's part of it. It's that identity. It says, well, I'm gonna go find it in the stuff, or I'm gonna go find it in my work. And it's like, well, no, it's right there in the middle, this invitation to be with this father and to connect with this father and to find identity in this father. Um, so there's your mini sermonette there, everybody today.
Yeah.
Call me. We'll get but
There's a
I
real quick on that, there's a quote by, one of my favorite, Christian philosophers, Soren Kierkegaard, if you've ever,
yeah,
like, listened to
yeah,
him. I like him a lot, and he says, I think it was Soren Kierkegaard that says, "With God's help, I shall become myself." And that's that, like, it stood out to me, so it's
yeah,
that level of constantly pursuing God and going,
yeah,
help me discover who you've called me to be. You
right,
create me, you sustain me, you
right,
complete me.
right.
Like, you've obviously got some sort of a plan, even though I've got free will. And so help me every day to discover, who am I supposed to be and how does that mean I'm showing up to Sean, to other people in my life?
So how do you, building a team? Let's jump onto that really quick because that's something you do really well. One of the things I notice again on your socials, your team is happy. I love them.
Yeah.
I love their
Yeah.
smiles. I love their energy and the vibe. I'm like, this is a great place to work. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're an agent and you're not happy right now, maybe call Josh, and get happy. But how do you create that culture and cultivate that culture to help others say, listen, show up as the truest version of yourself because not only is this business sustainable, but it's also the invitation for life sustainability.
Yeah. I mean, authenticity is certainly a part of that conversation. And going back to, like, the way I show up is going to invite people, other people in my environment, to show up in a similar way. But in an industry, like a lot of industries, specifically, or specific to sales, the pressure is to focus so much on, the way people see me,
Yeah.
and sales specifically, that it comes, not that those things aren't really important, like, absolutely
Right.
critical to sustaining a business. You need profit, you need sales, and you need to be able to mirror and match psychologically, body language, all that stuff. But
Right.
when those things all becoming at the opportunity cost of having a healthy personal life, being
Right.
available for your family, being able to be present with people without, like, scripting in my mind how I'm going to
Right.
convert them. Like,
Right.
it that I think just having the conversation with people that says, "Hey, your production, your numbers are important," but what we say at Timber Real Estate is that our office focuses more than any other office in this area on healthy, happy agents. Which means if our
Wow.
agents are like, it's literally in neon lights as soon as you walk into the downstairs, healthy, happy agents.
Wow.
And if you
Come on.
are, like, closing a lot of deals and those agents are out there, but your identity is broken, your family is broken, your health is broken, that's
Right.
what is the purpose of that? And so the goal is to attract people who have a similar mindset so that when they show up, they feel like the best version of them rises to the surface. That also means if people have different priorities, that they might show up and go, "Yeah, this doesn't sound like me," and that's okay too, you know?
Sure. 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 that culture probably, I imagine that took some time to build that. Can I get a little granular with you? Like, what are some practicals? Like, I love this. Let's just say an agent shows up and says, "Yeah, I've been burning the candle at both ends. I want to start being the truest version of myself." What's that culture that you've built inside of PNW that just says, these are the changes?
Yeah. One of the first conversations that we have with people whenever they show up is, I think Keller Williams used to call this the four conversations or something like that. We say, "Hey, what's the most important thing to you? What's the second most important thing to you?" And if you had to choose a third and fourth, and it usually goes something like answering questions about, what is your real estate business goal? What are your financial goals? And then underlying for that goes, hey, how does that, impact the rest of your life? And what are your goals outside of that? And it usually goes something like, well, friends and family, community and family, depending on what that looks like for people. So the classes that we teach, the conversations that we have from the very beginning, the culture that we have of accountability with people are structured around keeping the accountability around those conversations as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's integrated into the conversations that we're having that are maybe like formal, desk
Right.
to desk conversations, and then
Right.
informal, just like, hey, how are you doing, and how are you being present? And then at a brokerage level, what we do is structure events that incorporate families. I mean, I've been a part of larger, companies that like within real estate and outside of real estate, where the culture is like there's a lot of events for agents, like trying to take you out of the state,
Right. Right.
often, and
Yeah.
meeting with other salespeople. And these are important conversations, but helping to integrate. Like, I want to get to know the families of the people around me. I want to thank them for the
Amazing.
investment. I remember hearing it was a story from the guy who was running Hershey, Hershey Park and Hershey Investments. And there was at one point where one of his employees was like just giving and giving and giving and giving. And I forgot the CEO's name at the time, but he wrote like a handwritten letter to one of his highest execs' wives and said, "Hey, I recognize the sacrifice that your husband is making during this time. And I just want to let you know, like, I understand the weight that puts on you. I understand, like, how much more you have to carry because he's been available to help grow our business," and then gave them a large gift. Like, it's the thinking behind the curtain of what's happening in
Yeah.
this person's life, and then not just acknowledging it, but like engaging the
Yeah.
family and
Yeah.
into that holistic process. And like what we find is that means that not just the people that are with us, but their families
Right.
become brand champions. If
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, insert this virtual brokerage called me, and I'm thinking about having a conversation," like, their families will be like, "Why would you do that?" Like, they haven't, like,
Right.
this is who we are.
Right.
And identifying that has been huge from the very beginning of the conversations. That started with the PNW team when we started a team in 2013. And that same consistency of culture, community collaboration has been what has originated the foundational principles of timber real estate when we opened 3 years ago as a brokerage.
It's amazing. I mean, that's actually it's one of the things as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking of things that justice is the exact same way.
Yeah. Yep.
The renowned culture, justice is, I mean, his first questions to me are, how are you doing? When
Yeah.
we're in meetings, he's just like, listen, that's what's important, and that's what's important.
Huge.
When we've had um, new loan officers come in, even as of late, coming from other companies, and not disparaging the other, the grind culture, but I think part of it was they wanted out of the grind culture and they wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's weird to be seen not for your grind, but to be seen for you as a human, and that validation of acceptance and belief, really is kind of the core of human flourishing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that when you feel that sense of appreciation, that sense of, love, for lack of a better word, you feel that, hey, this cares. There's an overflow that's like, "Ooh, okay, I'm not doing this because this is my identity. I'm doing this because this is the overflow of who I am and what I get to do." And
Yeah.
it's pretty powerful to see that. And so I see your brain and Justice's brains kind of function on the same level there as far as,
Yeah.
building a culture and company. So I want to talk a little bit about, you have branched out into all of these different, like, I almost see, you, if anyone should have, and maybe you already have it already, so forgive me if I haven't seen it, but if anyone needs like an entrepreneurial YouTube channel, it's probably you. Because it feels like you are on it still feels like the foundational levels, but you are building some things that you have, it feels like you've been building them behind the scenes for a while now, but
Yeah.
it's starting to get voice and it's starting to get color. Hey, we hope you're enjoying this podcast. We do this every single week, talking to industry leaders in real estate, mortgages, and AI. We want to see you thrive, and Renown Mortgage wants to partner with you in making you absolutely successful. Listen, I just watched an MIT report just recently that talked about 50% of the people who are investing billions right now into AI are going to roll it back in 2027. Why? You cannot replace the human element. The ads and all of the scroll stopping things that are saying, listen, create a digital version of yourself. As you've seen throughout our podcast with industry leaders, they're saying you are replacing the best gift that you have, your humanity. We use powerful videos and powerful AI, not to replace you, but to make you and your business better. And also at Renown Mortgage, we are here to make you the hero in your story with your clients when it comes to the real estate purchase and mortgage purchase side. So enjoy the rest of this podcast. But if you are wanting help in having an advocate and an ally come alongside you to make your story and your humanity thrive and pop, don't hesitate to reach out here. Now get back to that podcast. We'll talk to you soon. Talk to me a little bit about Joshua's, like, where's that coming from? Like, is that just like, you're always on the build, you're always on the grow? It's kind of like, there's always new mountains to climb.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's sustainable, as long as it doesn't come at the expense of relationships, of the gospel, as long as it doesn't absorb or have an opportunity, cost opportunity from other things in my life. Like I enjoy building, and I mean, we see it all the way from the creation story, right? Like that God is, and then these conversations are just integrated into what we do
Absolutely.
consistently, but
Absolutely.
that God created, God sustains, and God completes. So, like, I believe that God, having made us in his image and likeness, like, one of the characteristics that's natural for us when we are healthy is to create, and is to create together, and it's to constantly look around and go, how can I make the world better? Part of it
Come
is
on.
is that, like, holistic biblical worldview. Part of it is that if I'm honest, I'm also just probably slightly broken in a way that everywhere I look, I'm like, that ain't right. So, like, and when I grew, like, the way that I grew
Get
up,
the
my dad,
hammer, honey. We're going to work. Okay. Okay.
at all times, and I'm very ADD. I'm very OCD. But growing up, my dad was always like, "Hey, fix that book, corner, tuck that tight, like leave that better than you found it." And so everywhere I go, there's this combination of thinking like, "Gosh, that could be a lot better than it is." That could
Yeah.
also help you. That dynamic can also prevent you from being fully present, which honestly, Sean, is like
Right.
that's the difficult
Right.
reality of it as well.
Right.
I look around and I go, man, I could make this better, this better, this better, this better, this better. And I'm also, there's this tension of like, don't people care? Like, why would you
Right.
do it like that? Like
Right.
there's a
Right.
better way to do it. So everywhere I'm looking, I'm seeing the opportunity to make things better. And I'm always, like you said, kind of working behind the scenes to create more products, more services, more leverage for agents in ways that people don't see. And then in addition to that, on hobbies. So, like, when I got into the real estate industry 10 years ago, I was like, hey, I feel like people don't understand that, like, how to keep track of the process. So we created a transaction tracker. We created a website called New Marketing to help agents to understand how to, like, implement consistency and scalability to their company. One of the problems that I saw is that agents are often trying to explain to people how to see the long-term value of real estate. So I created a website called EQ Folio to help people, like, put in their projections in their portfolio to see how the amortization and the payoff is actually growing
Right.
their wealth. Like, we've consistently created products that are and services that are helping agents to have a more clarity and more sustainability. But I just enjoy that. Like, I get bored way too
Awesome.
fast sitting around and seeing stuff broken and going, man, that's fine. Somebody else will fix it. I just
Right.
never do that.
Right. So you enjoy, one of the things I've had a lot of really phenomenal AI voices on the pod, and I've been
Yeah.
grateful for them. And one of the things that I've actually enjoyed I think one podcast I did a couple weeks ago with Katie Shive, which it'll be released here in a week or so. But
Check that
in the
out.
middle of this conversation, one of the things that we talked about was the challenge. Now, and again, she's an AI expert, loves AI. She calls her Claudette. I mean, she's in, she's bought in, and she uses AI and the different GPTs to help people build their brands and help people scale sustainably by understanding like this is what you do to get to your next goal
Hmm.
without crying, without burning out, and how do you utilize these tools? Um, in the middle of it, one of the things that we were talking about, and I probably am on my third round of this, but I just believe it to my core. uh, AI is not going to replace the very best gift that you bring to the table, which is your humanity and your ability to
Yep.
engage and your ability to be authentic.
I believe that.
There
Yeah.
have been attempts and now offers and seminars and funnels that have said, hey, you can replace it all right now and you're going to shave hours off of your life. And then you have Gary Vee showing up at the Keller meeting saying agents should spend 51% of their time creating, content, which I kind of disagree with that entirely. I think 51% is probably a bit of a stretch.
Hmm.
But I think I understand what he was saying contextually, but one of the things that makes life is that process and doing that process and being involved in that process. And if you're not great on camera, learning to become, good on camera, or if being
Yeah.
on camera isn't going to be a part of your jam, then finding that lane that is something that, as Mike Grenard says really well, find your three legs, find the three legs and just, rinse and repeat and get up again and find your three legs and do them consistently. My brother's a really very quite successful builder, and literally I asked him one day, I was just like, so what do you feel if you walked away, you would say this is my key to success? And he said, honestly, consistency.
Hmm.
I just keep doing it,
Yeah.
and I just keep doing it. The challenge with AI is this invitation to take some of the things that really are humanity and really are our process and really are part of our growth and push them off to it.
Yeah.
How do you help, how do you personally navigate between the two of like, hey, I want to embrace this new technology that's, saying, Ricky Carruth said, in the next 2 years, it's going to take over the real estate industry. Um, and the real like, hey, this is how Joshua has found his lane and I'm sticking to it. How are you navigating those two?
Well, I love watching Gary Vee and Ricky Carruth and like AI voices, and I leverage AI a decent amount, a little bit. I just think that anything that relates to human interaction is so easily cheapened if you
Yeah.
remove the human interaction element of it. I mean, w- when somebody has a question, they don't want to hop on a portal.
Right.
They want to get a text message from you. Like,
Right.
I mean, when somebody has a question from their designated broker or managing broker, they don't want to fly through a virtual world and go knock on a door. Like, they want
Right.
to knock on your personal door
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or shoot you a text and say, "I had a question." Like, that human interaction, and in my experience, it's the AI integration has actually made the human experience so much more valuable, and the
Yeah.
way that we leverage
Yeah.
AI by maintaining or increasing the validity and the value of the human experience, or that authentic experience, is by leveraging it ways that aren't forward facing. It's probably the
Right.
easiest way to say it.
Right.
Like, I can leverage AI to create a website because my clients don't care who created that website. I can
Right.
leverage AI to coordinate the CRM as long as it doesn't um or to make CRM, or the consumer or customer relationship management system, more efficient, as long as that person gets to actually engage with a human quickly without it being
Absolutely.
at the expense of the bot taking over that conversation. So
Totally.
anything that's not forward facing, automate the heck out of it.
Right. Right.
But one of the things that we also do within our company is consistently ask particularly our partners or our employees, this hedgehog concept of, what are you good at? What do you love doing? Like, what are you passionate about? And what does the world, or what does our company need? And if we can have everybody like doing that really, really well, then we'll leverage out the rest. My previous director of operations, Haley, used to say, and she got this from probably somebody else, but well, what do we need to delegate? What do we need to automate? What do we need to eliminate? And then over the last year, we added, what do we need to elevate? And I think elevating the human experience while
Yeah,
eliminating and delegating, automating everything else is key for the next few years.
amazing. No, I 100% agree. I think the in my research in this lane, because one of the things we do is we do a 60-day protocol. We don't go any farther than that. We do a 60-day protocol where we sit down and we'll talk to agents, and I love it because it's one of the best parts of my job is I get to just sit down and talk to agents about their story. Like,
Yeah.
tell me your story. How did you get here? And one of the things that I get after a 35, 45-minute conversation and just asking these questions and then just listening is I'm able to take that conversation and put that into a GPT that we've created, that we're always, always growing, and create a marketing
Wow.
program that literally
That's
they wake up
really
the
cool,
next
Sean.
day and they put in day one. Like, that's it. And it
That's really
says, in your voice, in your strategy, and with your 3 pillars or your legs that you want to do, this is what you do today. And it doesn't take them outside of the truest version of themselves. It's like, no, this was built in my voice. And we do it, sometimes I think I should only do it 30 days because, revisit it. But one of
Yeah.
the things it does is it says, listen, this is how you're going to utilize AI today. Here's what you're going to post today, because this is authentically you. This isn't something you got from a batch commercial group of people that you're paying every single month that says, here, just post this. It's like, no,
Yeah.
this is you. This is your voice. This is the post that you would post if you weren't stressing out right now about what to post. This is what you would do.
Yeah.
Because AI is emotionless, right? And so it says this is what you do. And so we've built these to do that, and then pair them with the agent spotlights, which kind of gets some agents to get in front of camera and get excited. But
Yeah.
the human, it's leaning back into that. This is your voice. This is your human element. This isn't
Mhm.
a synthesized version of yourself. And it's funny because, like, I love being able to talk to you in this manner. So for those of you who are like, okay, why are they talking about God so much? Well, it's because big fans, big fans.
It's
Um,
part of it's a
um,
4% piece of my
yeah,
business. Yeah.
he's a big fan of us, and we're a big fan of him. So
Yeah.
it's the generation, my daughter's generation, my daughter's 15 and a half, my daughter's generation and older, from, like, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, um, they have, there's a little bit culturally of a revolt against AI.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of, and they are running back to church and faith right now,
So
uh,
cool.
in a record number. And even some of them, it's really interesting. They're going to more of the more liturgical,
Yeah.
like Catholic churches, Methodist churches, because and they're liking the quiet.
Tradition. They look like the
Yeah,
safety of
they're
tradition. Yeah.
looking for a consistency. They're looking for, like, I may not fully understand this, but it's it's touching a place in my life that feels so chaotic
Yep.
that it's like, and I think in a way that's somewhat of a microcosm about what we're experiencing kind of at the writ large of society,
Mhm.
is I am craving authenticity. I'm craving someone to walk me through what is potentially the largest financial transaction I'm ever going to make in my entire life. And I'm so grateful to know that it's a somebody that's there,
Yeah.
and that the person that I'm engaging with was actually, meant what they said. And it wasn't that they were just being able to, regurgitate that from the output of what they were told would be good to say.
Yep.
Um, so I say all that to say I celebrate and applaud what you're doing in the culture that you're building, because I think
Man, yeah.
that is just, I think it's just phenomenal. I think that is whether we recognize it and maybe see it in its fullest. I think over the next few years, the value that will be given to that is going to be beyond measure. I
Yeah.
genuinely do.
I think there's a reason that we see such a progression of people that are like attracted towards these, like, including myself, of like Instagram accounts of people like living on a farm in a
Right.
sundress, like having a nap with a cow. Cause there's a part of you that's like, oh, like this
Right.
isn't like part of humanity like that.
Yes.
I mean, the pace at which our economy and our environment, especially in a spot like Western Washington, the pace at which we're moving, that it requires you to like process information, process trauma, process international politics, like process like the economy and the BIPs and the
Right.
bond market, like
Right.
the amount of information that we're having to process. I think this is like part of what's making both the human experience so powerful and like just slowing down and separating and kind of distilling out all of that from like, okay, but what are
Totally.
you experiencing as a human is just
Yeah.
is so powerful. It's one of the reasons
Yeah.
that, like you said before, like, I mean, once a month, I just get out of the state and I try to find somewhere where I can just spend a couple days like just breathing and
Yeah.
being and not having to
Yeah.
be doing.
Yeah.
Is what makes it sustainable, you know?
My friend, he owns a company called Motion Duck, and it's a he creates like really interesting duck blinds, and really that's just his world. And he lived here in the valley where I was for years, and they moved to 300 acres in Moses Lake, and
Nice.
so we go visit them every once in a while, and he just steps out of this, and it's a double wide. He was living on a beautiful house on a lake, and now he lives in this double wide in the middle of 300 acres, and there's cows off the ridge, and I stand out, and I'm just like, you are living the dream right now. You've
Yeah.
got your kids running around everywhere. Your power bill is the ridiculous, most cheapest thing I've ever seen because of the. I mean, he's just living, and it's this absolute simplicity of like this is where I thrive. And he's built, an amazing company while he's doing it out there. But
Yeah.
uh there is just something to, as my daughter says, touching grass, you
Yes.
know, and just getting yourself back to this is who I am. So
Yeah.
I think to be able to build something like that into a culture is admirable. So way to go. Well done. And I
Thank
mean
you.
that sincerely from my heart. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
So what as we're kind of getting ready to kind of land the plane, I got to have you on again. I feel like we just did this. So,
Absolute pleasure.
yeah,
Yeah.
we got to do this again sometime. But what do you like what's on your horizon right now as you're just like starting to build, like even just personally, and how your personally is translating into your team? What is it that you're like, what are you seeing on the horizon as we're moving into just an entirely different season, in real estate?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll share with you like a lot of the things that we're up to, and you can feel free to jump into it, or anybody can ask any
Yeah, yeah,
questions
yeah.
that they have on it. But right now, like what's really important to me, building our brokerage. I mean, we have that one location in Lake Taps, and we intend on just being for the foreseeable future one solid, healthy location. We got about 36 agents over there, and so just continuing to grow and develop that with our team that makes it so sustainable and fun over at Timber Real Estate. We're continuing to grow the PNW team, which with Nicole over there, who is just an absolutely extraordinary person. So within the PNW team, it's even more focused, more leverage, with more uh, a little bit more accountability and one-on-one
Yeah.
time than even at the
Right.
brokerage.
Right.
Outside of that, Sean, we're continuing to build our own investments. I'm a huge fan of growing and investing into real estate, not just selling real estate. So we are diversified into 4 states right now for investments. I mean, we're doing short-term rentals, long-term rentals, commercial, residential, a little bit of everything.
Awesome.
Personally, I'm starting to get into commercial real estate, starting to get into development a little bit, finishing my master's in real estate development at the University of Arizona this next year, and then over the next 5 to 10 years, the goal is to continue to do a little bit more developing, a little bit more commercial, and the goal in all of that is just to create more opportunity
Love it.
for other people who are in the
Love it.
industry with me, those who have partnered with us. That's what I'm always looking at is what am I doing and how has God uniquely positioned me to provide value, service, leverage, health, hope to
Yeah.
those that are around me through the way that I'm cultivating and stewarding the things that are currently in front of me, whether it's my family who might need a place at some point, whether it's a short-term rental that could provide a getaway and experience for people.
Wow.
Whether it's growing our portfolio so that we have the financial peace of mind to be able to serve people or give the way like, we feel God's put us, put us here
Right.
for.
Right.
And then trying to create more moments of just stillness, man, is what I mean,
Yeah.
it's as you said, by default, you're aware that like I've traveled a little bit more recently and that I'm really, really busy. That this is what like most people's perception. That guy seems really busy, like he's doing a
Right.
lot, and that I think he's, probably out of the country like 1 week a month,
Right.
which
He's
is
got quite a bit of air miles cooking right now. Right.
yeah, which
Right.
is mostly true. And as things just continue to progress towards efficiency and optimization, as wonderful as all those things are, every endeavor, every conversation, I just want to be more about being present. I mean, I've done youth ministry, high school ministry for most of the last
Awesome.
25 years.
Awesome. Me
And
too. That's
okay,
awesome.
yeah. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
lead a really cool group of sophomores that are all going to be juniors. Like it's a couple dozen guys, and I
Wow.
spend Sundays with them, and periodically they come to my house. Like I want to create more of those moments, man. The last thing I want is to turn 60 and go, wow, I've built a hell of a portfolio, but
Yeah.
nobody
Right.
really knows who I am, and I don't really know who anybody else is. Like I want more moments where like these are good, like, but as many of these moments as we have like on a podcast, which is kind of like blending that authenticity in business. I want moments where like you and I are sitting out a campfire in the back of my house having a s'more or an old
Come on.
fashioned. Like those are moments where we're just getting to know each other, and I want more of that, man. That's the stuff I want to invite more of in my
Yeah.
life.
And I think being a tour guide for others to find that same thing is part of that too. That's the deepest part of me, is having people find the truest version of themselves. And sometimes that journey of helping others find the truest version of yourself is where, the father's like, well, hey, you and I can talk about how are you doing right now,
Yeah,
and that's the beautiful part of the journey too. Uh, Joshua, this went exactly where I hoped and dreamed it would go. I love these conversations. I think you provided just a lot of encouragement today
good.
to people, and just a beautiful invitation for people. And we just want to be an encouragement to you. If you are out there right now and you're battling in this industry and you're trying to find a place in this industry, the Rise by Renown podcast is for this. It is for you to rise, to be encouraged, to, yes, find tools, but also just find encouragement. That's what we're about. So don't hesitate to reach out, because we're not just your average everyday mortgage company. We are life speakers, and we are partners to come alongside to help elevate and raise to what you're doing to the next level. It's not just about visibility; it's about sustainability. So,
That's good. Well,
Joshua, thank you so much for being on the pod this week. And again, we're going to have you again 100% for sure.
yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, and
Awesome.
appreciate you guys, and I
Awesome.
love what you're doing here.
You got it. All right. We'll see you next time.